episode 69 of Football Manager 2015 with Southampton. It's the 17th of August 2024. We've got European football this season, as you'll have found out from last episode. We've got a new season upon us now, and I've got a lot to take you through because it's been quite a busy pre-season. Plus, I didn't realise this at the time because it didn't come up, but we entered at the third qualifying round of the Europa League. That's just how it worked. I don't really know how that works, but we ended up having to do that. So we've already actually played the third qualifying round, and we've got the. I'll give it to you now that we did win the third qualifying round, so we're still in it. We've got a playoff coming up pretty soon, and then hopefully we can get into the proper group stage. Anyway, the first thing we're going to cover is the transfers in the off-season. And a lot of goings out, really, and not too much coming in. We got a transfer budget of 24 million. But it was one of those where I felt, actually, we had a transfer budget of 24 million, but yet we were still not very well off financially. So I did, as I kind of usually do in those sort of situations, I didn't overspend. I actually sold a lot more than I brought in. And you can see we've still got 14.5 million in the bank. Now, we're predicted to lose all of that by the end of the year, but hopefully we won't do that. So we did sell 46.5 million's worth of players and brought in 22.25, which was only 4 players, but 4 good players, I think. So on the outs, Joey Hood, you won't want to know about that. Matthias Jorgensen left for 9 million to Newcastle. He came in for 3.6 million. Last year he did feature, but most of the time off the bench, and was getting a little bit angry that he was becoming a rotation option, despite the rotation option was really what he deserved to be, but he didn't like that whatsoever, that kind of label on him, so I decided to get rid for 9 million. Craig Dawson for 160 grand. An aging Craig Dawson, wanted a new challenge, decided to ship him off for any money I could. Then an awful lot of, just before I go to the 2 main ones, an awful lot of youngsters, I just decided to clean up all the deadwood, like all those half-star and 1-star potentials from the under-18s and under-21s, plus a few guys leaving, like Michaelis Lewizu, who I think was the best. He's gone to Palace. Is that in the Championship? Yeah, it is. No, he was probably the best of the lot. Not a bad little striker, but just wasn't quite good enough. All of these are just youngsters, and a few more loans going out, especially to our feeder club Exeter. The most high profile of the loans was Justin Childs, who went to West Ham. He looks a stunning prospect. This guy, centre back, can also play right back. 16 heading, 14 marking, and 13 tackling at just 17 years old. That is pretty frightening for a centre back. James Chalmers-Stevens, who left for 2.5 million, a centre mid who never really got a look in, and Jed Steer left for 1 million, and you'll see why. They went to Ipswich and Cardiff respectively. The 2 major ones, though, the 2 ones that you'll be probably thinking about is Jerome Sinclair. Now, it's down there as 13.25 million, and this isn't all the truth to it. It's actually rising, I think, to around 18 million by the end of the deal, based on clauses and all that. Now, he's gone to Everton, our former employers, which I wasn't too happy about. Like, the guy was angry because, at the latter half of the season, he didn't get a look in because Max the Machine Dunn really just took over. And he was on a high wage. Now, you'll see the replacement we brought in for him is also on a high wage, but we brought him in for a lot cheaper. Like, he did pretty well last year in the games he played, but he picked up that injury, which let Max Dunn in, and Max Dunn really didn't relinquish the opportunity to pounce, I suppose, on it, and scored a shed load of goals, and was incredible. But like, he's gone to Everton, and I don't think he'll actually do very well at Everton, because I don't think there's actually too much left in him. 27 years old. Yeah, and I thought 13.25 million, that was up front, and then to get another 4 million or so in clauses, I think that's not a bad deal. The other one was, I suppose, a little more unexpected. Like I think I had alluded to in one of the previous episodes that I might look into selling Jerome Sinclair, but certainly not looking into selling Panos Armenikos, our major left midfielder. And the reason for this was he was getting a little bit antsy, I suppose. He wasn't playing Champions League football, I think that was the reason why. And Monaco came sniffing around, and he kind of got very annoyed, or he got very hyper that he wanted to move to Monaco, and if they put in a bid, can I accept it, and all that sort of stuff. And, I am always reluctant in those sort of situations, because he's an excellent player. There's no doubt about that from Panos Armenikos. He is an excellent player. But you look at it, well, what happened with Cow, what happened with Isaiah Brown at Villa and Everton, respectively. When you don't let them leave, then the team turn on you, and I don't want to be sacked, because I really think I'm building something here at Southampton. So I just had to get rid of him. 20 million, not a bad deal whatsoever. He was quite good last year, but in terms of goals and assists, he didn't actually contribute too much, despite his average rating overall being pretty good. Now, those were all the outs, and I don't think there'll be anyone else leaving on a permanent left in this transfer window. We only brought in 4. I'll kind of build it up to the biggest one. So Bob Anderson was actually something that our head of youth development tied up. He's a young attacking midfielder centre, can also play up front. Now, I wouldn't be sure about being up front because he's got 5 finishing and 7 off the ball. 12 composure isn't bad. He's technically okay, but other than that, he has a lot to work on. He is 15? Yeah, he's still 15, so there's still an awful lot of time left with him. And for 500k, I do think we'll be able to cash in on him at some stage for more than 500k, which is I suppose worth it then. Next man in from Livorno was Matthias Mires, and this is the guy who's going to fill the void of Jerome Sinclair as that sort of backup striker. Now, I knew something was going to be a little bit odd with Matthias Mires because we were allowed to get him for 4.2 million. Now, his report was quite good, and he'd scored around, I think, 3 or 4 seasons ago, 20 goals in 35 for Livorno in Serie A. But then gradually kind of faded out of the team there, which I was a bit surprised about, and we were able to pick him up for 4.2 million. Now, he was on extremely high wages, and I think that was the stumbling block at Livorno, and the fact that nobody else was going to take him was because of these ridiculous wages. Now, we've got him on 81 grand a week here he's going to be a rotation option, so it's an awful lot of money for a rotation option. But you got to give it to me, actually. He was looking for a key player deal worth 105 grand, and I wasn't going to give him that. I did think I would give him 81 grand because we only did spend 4.2 million on him. If we'd spent 14 million on him, then I wouldn't have gone near him at 81 grand a week. But he was only 4 million, so I suppose I was able to just give him a little bit of leeway with the wage, although I'm a little bit annoyed that I did that because I want to keep the wage bill tight here. The other 2 guys were slightly bigger transfer fees. Neston Aguirre for 7.5 million from Lanús. It's the next. He's the replacement for Panos Armenikos as our left winger. And he looks a really decent operator. 21 years old, Argentinian under-20s international. Plenty of pace, good determination, good technique. Not bad flair, good first touch. He's got that little nippy winger sort of stats, or attributes even. He's not a tall guy, just 175 centimetres. Now, what does that check out at? I wouldn't know what that actually is. I think it's that'd be 5'6", 5'7". Don't know, but I think he's a small enough guy because he's not great in the air. But he kind of makes up for it with such speed and such technique and a bit of flair, and I think he's going to be a really handy player to have. His mentals aren't fantastic, but his technicals and physicals certainly make up for it, and I think he could be a really handy operator and do well as the replacement for Armenikos on that left-hand flank. And as you can see, because we haven't sold him, we still have Urbanek, who can also play out there. And the big one, I suppose, was 10 million for Gustavo Alegre from Feyenoord. And this was the position that we badly needed. I alluded to it so many times last year because Fraser Forster just kept on making mistake after mistake, and we finally brought ourselves in a half-decent keeper. He's only 3-star, which disappointed me a little bit because in his scout report he was like coming in at 4.5-star. And to be honest, I think his attributes more reflect at least a 3.5-star Premier League goalkeeper. Like, he looks an absolute tank. 20 communication, 20 determination, 18 one-on-ones, 19 throwing, 17 reflexes, 16 kicking, 16 anticipation, 18 balance, 18 strength. Like, there's a lot of high attributes in there. Again, another Argentinian under-20 international, so we kind of raided that squad, that under-20 Argentinian squad, but I think 10 million for him was actually a bit of a steal in my eyes, because I think he's going to be a really, really good player for us. He's going to be our number 1. Fraser Forster now moves down to number 2, and of course Jed Steer has left. Forster's still a 2.5-star keeper, but like, he was poor last year, Forster. He made mistake after mistake. We could really do with Gustavo Alegre giving us a little bit more stability in front of goal. That's what I'm looking for, really. Anyway, going into pre-season, plus that this kind of Europa League third qualifying round tie that we had to play. Pre-season was a little bit iffy. We lost 2-1 to Pumas, which wasn't great start to it. We then beat Salzburg 3-1, beat Aris 1-0, drew 0-0 with Wolfsburg, beat Himeji Blues 6-0, drew 1-1 with Inverness, and beat Exeter 5-1. And this led us into the Europa League third qualifying round against Lechia, who are in the Polish top division. And they weren't a bad team, actually. To come up against in the third round was not a great tie to get, I don't think. The only thing I've kind of realised in this Europa League third qualifying round, before I start delving into the game a little bit more, is that with the departure of Jorgensen and also injuries at the moment to Emre Can and to Bruno Zuccolini, we are extremely short on midfielders. And I'm looking into bringing one in, actually. You might see him in the next episode because he's close enough, I think, to being confirmed. People like Chan are nearly back, and so is Safir Taider. He's also out for today's game, today's live commentary, because he picked up an injury in this one, which we won 2-0. Now, we took a while to get these goals, 76th and 87th minute, and it was actually 2 guys on debut who both scored the goals. Match statistics are as you are. You can pause the video there if you wanted to see them in more detail. I'll show you the goals. The first was Matias Mires, the 4.2 million Livorno striker. Did score the first. He came on in the 73rd minute and scored in the 76th. He came on for Max Dunn, who really didn't look to be firing on all cylinders in this game, and we did take him off, just obviously wasn't quite right for him yet. But Mires does really well here, beats a man, and then a powerful shot into the bottom corner. And we finally broke the deadlock, because they were quite solid. Despite us dominating the game, they didn't really break down. And the other goal was scored by a debutant, but an academy debutant, being Shane Liz, who I think I showed you guys in the last episode, possibly 2 episodes ago, as kind of the best who came through last year's youth intake. And scoring on his debut was a handy way to start himself off, and he's looked well because he's had to play both these games and might even have to feature today in the Premier League, because we're a little bit short at the moment in terms of squad depth. Again, something I'm looking to rectify before the end of the transfer window. Like, I'm by no means done in the transfer window in terms of comings in. Urbanek does well here, then finds Rabeo, ball to Liz, and first time into the kind of roof of the net. An excellent finish to score in his debut. And we won the game 2-0. And that gave us a nice little cushion going into the second leg, which we also won 2-0. This time with a bit more of a familiar faces on the score sheet. Well, Dario Escobar, I suppose, isn't exactly a familiar face, but he's a familiar face on the team sheet, and not exactly the score sheet, though. It comes back to Urbanek, who gets the ball in, and it ends up falling to Escobar. Lingard gives him a little ball in, and Escobar does well to finish it off. And then an extremely common man on the score sheet, getting his first of the season, hopefully of many, was Max the Machine Dunn, and he took his first with fantastic And Reed with a good ball through, but he beats a man, beats two, and then roofs it into the top right. It really is. It's lovely to see him do that, because I know he's capable of doing it, but like sometimes he just doesn't. But this time that was like superb. And we've got Villa today, which is really a cold awakening to the new Premier League season, because they're still excellent, still coming in off my success, really. Like, they have changed the team a fair bit by now, but they've still got an awful lot of guys that I had in there. You know, Bradbury, Horn, Tielemans, Boye, Alderlino, Balanta, Bravo, Saibi, Para, Barkley, Grealish, Robertson, Meyer and Wellington, all of which I managed at some point. Anyway, in terms of the squad itself, this is how it looks like. So having a look at Shane Liz, like, he's quite limited. He's 16 years old though, but he looks to have a bright future ahead of him, and I think a few first team games will do him a power of good. If we have a look at some people's development, like Dario Escobar, he's looking a really solid centre half, and I'm looking for a little bit more command this year. He showed good command last year, but I'm looking for even more from him this year, because I think he can step up into that role. Max the Machine Dunn, he's looking like a tasty enough prospect, as he did for the whole of last year. 21 years old. It will be only a matter of time before he gets his first English cap in my eyes. And Brian Rebeo, he's going down a little bit. Like, he's 30 years old though. Hopefully he can still produce another stellar season though. Oh yes, that brings me on to something. If we have a look at the Premier League and awards, Football of the Year did go to Brian Rebeo. Happy days. Because I thought he wouldn't get it, because they'd give it to Eden Hazard again. 17 goals and 21 assists though. Like, in 30 appearances, you really couldn't turn him down. 7.99 average rating as well. You really couldn't turn him down. And I think Max the Machine Dunn won Young Player of the Year as well, which was really nice to see. Cardi won the goal scorers. As expected, Player of the Year went to Cardi as well. Manager of the Year went to Mourinho, no surprises. Golden Glove went to Mignolet, then Courtois and Jason Steele. So all three real keepers there. And the Team of the Year, we had a few representatives. We had Reed and Rebeo. So Rebeo playing in centre mid, which he didn't play all year, but nonetheless they fitted him in at least. And Reed, which is good to see. He had an excellent season. And we had Emre Can and Max the Machine Dunn on the bench. So, you know, not a bad effort. 4 guys within the kind of squad, I think was an excellent effort. As you can see, a fair few teams have already played, so we're the late kickoff on the Saturday, so the 5:30. In terms of where they're expecting me, the board want me to qualify for the Europa League, which is usually top 6, and the Premier League itself has me predicted to come 7th, although a fair bit off 6th based on the odds. We're not really in that kind of group of competitors. We're down here at 33-1, leading the people like Arsenal and Everton. Sheffield United are in the Premier League again, but they're at 1,000-1 to win the Premier League. They look, I think, down for the drop, unless if they've improved nicely, maybe they can stay up. Anyway, let's get into today's game, and the team we've gone for is not full strength. Well, no, it isn't, because we do have those injuries. So we've got Gustavo Allegri in goal, Escobar, Fosu-Mensah and Papadopoulos. Timmy Freeman as the regista. Now, he's going to be playing probably a major part in this season now. I think he's ready. At 20 years old, I think he's well ready to now make that step up into the first team. Aguirre on the left. Urbanek having to play as a makeshift right winger because Tyder is injured, and because of lack of depth, Lingard is having to play in the middle, and he's playing in the middle alongside Reed. Rebeo playing off Max the Machine Dunn. So it's at least good to see that these two are fit and raring to go for the new season, and hopefully they can pull up something for you guys here on the first game of the season. The big news really from Villa point of view, I think, in the off-season was they've gone and bought Isaiah Brown from Everton. That was their big buy, I think. 19.5 million. He did have a great season last year because he was injured for 4 to 5 months. So that was the reason he didn't feature too much last year. We can now get rid of this because it's not really near the end of the season. It's only near the end of the season where you get the league table up. Anyway, new season upon us, and I thought that was going to be the first goal against us, but I think that's Josh Murphy. Shot is blocked by Dario Escobar. And God, we're living on the edge already here. First 5 minutes. Very tricky place to go though, Villa Park. And Max the Machine Dunn is currently off the field at the moment receiving treatment. So I can Rebello's going to have to do it himself because he's got nobody in support and he gets dispossessed quite easily. Lucas Boye, who's now off on a surging run. Oh no. Close him down. Good save by Gustavo Alegre. On debut, of course, in the Premier League. I actually don't mind, though, having those little... Saibi, here we go. Boye. It's the crossbar. We really are living on the edge. First 15 minutes. Have not gotten into this game whatsoever. Anyway, as I was saying, I don't mind those little Europa League third qualifying round games. I think they're actually quite helpful. They're a bit more of a kind of competitive friendly game nearly. But like you can field a stronger team, see how they're going to go against a weak team, which you should beat, and we did. But like we should have beaten them. We probably should have beaten them a little better than we did. Rebello now, chance. Get it in. Max the Machine Dunn. Oh no. Max, no. That was not what the script wanted you to do, Max. Rebello had done his part. You haven't done yours. Anyway, into Reed, Rebello. We've been a little better this past 20 minutes. Max the Machine Dunn. Oh, that's a terrific save from Timo Horn, who's still finding himself in nets for Villa. That probably shows you how good the keeper is, that he still finds himself, despite being I'd say it's now a good 5 years, or no, maybe not 5 years, maybe 3 or 4 years though since I've been in charge at Villa, and yet Horn still finds himself pipping Alderalino for that starting position. And Alderalino, when I left, was blossoming into a really good young keeper. Anyway, here's Isaiah Brown, who does have a knock, which isn't exactly what I'd say he wanted on his debut. And he's now picked up an injury. But here comes Saibi. Oh, no. Dave McGrath has scored, the former Man U man. And Villa have got their season off to a good start and are 1-0 up here. That is not good. That is not good at all. He just seems to escape marking here, McGrath. Oh, somebody's missed his header there. Harrison Reed. No, you missed your header, mate. Oh, God. That's infuriating. Because we were getting a little bit of a grip on the game. Now, I can't say it's come completely against the run of play, but we were having a little bit more of the game, and then they've scored. Anyway, here's Reed. Oh, Lingard, sloppy. That's what happens. Markovic. Oh, should have been 2-0. Suppose that's what happens when you do have a makeshift central midfielder in there, but we've nobody to bring on for him. That's the problem. You know, he's playing poorly, Lingard, but... You know, who do we bring on? Oh, wait, we don't have anyone. But anyway, here's Aguirre, the new signing. We haven't seen too much of him here today, but he's going on a surging run and then gets it tackled far too easily. Harrison Reed now. Finds Rebello. Can he make some magic? Oh, Max was nearly in there, but they get dispossessed again far too easily. And Markovic now. Oh, Boye, good save. Gustavo Alegre has been good in goal today. Has made some good saves. And we're going to make some substitutions here. We're going to see, is there anything we can do? One thing we're going to do is, unfortunately, take off Max Dunn. He hasn't been too much of a machine today. We're going to bring on Matias Mures. And what we're going to do, actually, is we're going to put Freeman up there. and switch him and Reed around. So we've got Freeman as the deep line playmaker, Reed as an advanced playmaker, and Shane Ciardini coming in the regista role. He doesn't look too confident there, but he can play defensive midfielder. So I don't really mind it as long as he can actually play the position, which he apparently can. Now, possibly not regista very well, and we're going to go for it now. You know, we might as well. Don't think there's much use in us just sitting back and allowing this result happen to us. Papadopoulos gets that away, and Urbanex got a chance to break. Well, he did, but again gives the ball away so easily. Bradbury now. Barkley. McGrath. Come on. Close him down. Good, Fosu Mensah. Go after it, Mires. No. Para wins it well. Murphy into McGrath. Barkley. They're just finding so much room. Boye. Good save. He's keeping us in this game, Gustavo Alegre. I don't know what his average rating is, but it should be good because he's saved 3 or 4 clear-cut chances from Boye today. Like, Boye should have scored at least 2, I'd say, by now. Now, here's Robertson. Finds Murphy. Back to Robertson. They're really causing havoc, though, to us. And I don't think this highlight's quite done just yet. Saibi. Back out to Bradbury. For once, I'd like the highlight to finish, please. Oh no, okay. Oh, Mires just about keeps hold of it. And of course the highlight finishes now. Thanks for that. Immediately we get on the ball, the highlight stops. And I don't think there's much more I can do really about this one today. I think we've just been outplayed really. Let's push the wingers up a little bit more. That might leave us a bit more exposed. But as I said before, we might as well just throw down the gauntlet and go for it, but it really hasn't made much of a difference today. We didn't really create many opportunities, and then the 1 or 2 that we had, we didn't really take. Max Dunn had a few half chances, a good save from Horn, but overall a disappointing 1-0 defeat to Aston Villa on the opening day of the season. It's not ideal, whatsoever, but I suppose it's one of the tougher games, and to get it out of the way nearly it's kind of a good thing, I suppose. In terms of the next live commentary, it's actually going to be the game at home to Spurs. Because of the Europa League, we just have a few more games. I don't want to be kind of reviewing too many games in an episode, so it'll just be the 4. We have been drawn against RNK Split from Croatia in the Europa League playoff. Like, to be honest, we should win that, and we should win it quite comfortably. In between then and now, we do have QPR at home, Sheffield United away. Also, 2 winnable league games. And we're going to have to, because we've lost today in our opening league game of the season, which is disappointing. But I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. Please give me a bit of feedback on the transfers I've made. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys later.